All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. This is super awesome. I'm here with Esty. We're the Kesslers. We're the head of the concierge team. So you've probably seen us, on Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook. You've seen tons of emails from us. And yeah, we're here to be your concierge. We're here to work with you guys and to, give you as much of a rundown as we possibly can and explain the Mountain View vision.
Yeah, it's been really exciting over the past few weeks since we've launched. We've had hundreds of families expressing interest, and we've had such an overwhelming response. We're getting close to closing up phase 1, and we'll soon be introducing phase 2. It's been really, really exciting to share this vision with you. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in.
We're going to jump right in. So I just want to go ahead and preempt this with, I sent out an email earlier today requesting people to send in their, pre-submitted questions for the Q&A at the end of this. We've got lots of questions to get through, but feel free to type in the chat any questions that you have throughout the whole event. They'll go to the host. Everything's private, so don't worry, and we'll get to your questions one at a time. As much time as we have, we'll go through as many questions as we possibly can. We want this, the point of this is to give you, is to be as informational as possible and, of course, inspirational. And I'm going to go ahead and just give you some good key points from the website of Shefa Living. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen quickly and give you a quick rundown of just some cool pointers on the Shefa brand itself. So some of you guys have already put your information in here. Let me just exit that out. Okay, perfect. So you'll see the future here obviously begins with you guys. Really inspirational website. You'll see all this cool stuff here. We'll have the luxury, we have the insides and outsides of the homes, and the Shefa Living brand, giving you a good sense of an idea of what it's going to be like waking up over there, even on a Shabbos morning or just walking around with your children in a beautiful gated community. We're going to have just a good overall blend, like we always like to say, of Torah mixed with nature and, of course, that luxury. And here you can see this is the land itself right now. This is what it looks like. And all the homes are going to be built right here on this beautiful piece of land right here, nestled right in the Blue Ridge Mountains. It's absolutely stunning. We're going to just run down here. And I want to run through just a quick, brief intro of the homes that we're offering. So we have the Ember, the Grove, and the Crest, and of course the entry-level one, which is called the Meadow, which is on our brochure. And if you guys don't have the brochure, feel free to email us after. We'll send you a copy of the brochure. And I'm more than happy to jump on a call. Esty's more than happy to jump on a call. We talk with families throughout the whole day and even at night. Guys, don't feel embarrassed to ask if we can talk at night. I've had calls with Esty at 9, 10 p.m. We understand. Everyone's got families.
That's the time when we're up because the kids are asleep.
The kids are finally asleep and we can, have conversations with everybody. So a quick rundown here of the options that we have. The Ember is a 3-bedroom, the Grove is a 4-bedroom, and the Crest is our gorgeous 5-bedroom home. Now, these homes are absolutely stunning. They're not your typical cookie cutter, builder grade. These are gorgeous panoramic views of the mountains, big, tall ceilings, vaulted ceilings throughout the home. They have big bedrooms, there's big decks throughout the whole entire home on the exterior of the home, giving you that real big mountain feel. So even on a 3-bedroom home, for example, you're looking at a 2,700 square foot home, plus an additional 1,000 square feet of decking space. I mean, just a really big overall, beautiful view.
Really nice. And they're made with Jewish families in mind. So
that's right.
Really spacious and welcoming.
That's right. That's right.
Really.
So, of course, and here you have just, some overall, just some inspirational pictures and some renderings of what it actually looks like. So I want to go ahead and just quickly on the brochure itself, I want to show you guys a few things that some people may not understand or may have missed. And that's just in terms of pricing and things like that. So you have the view here and some really nice amenities within. We're going to have the shul, of course. We're going to have the mikvah. We're going to have our own kosher market. We're going to have a nice, beautiful school. And we're going to get to all these things. Yudi's going to break down all of the, details when it comes to how the education piece is going to look. I know a lot of you guys are waiting for that. That's been one of the hot questions, and we're ready to answer it for you guys. Of course, right here, there was the site map, There's a site map of where all the first 20 homes of the Founder Series are going to be on the land. This whole site map right here is this section right here. And of course, the location's great, great quick flights from New York and Florida. And all the central East Coast right here is right smack in the middle. We're extremely close driving distance to a lot of, close neighborhoods, Cleveland, Pittsburgh. And of course, the home models themselves. Like I said, the Meadow is that intro one, which starts at only $499.
Looks like we're having trouble seeing the website. See, are people seeing the screen share? That's where screen sharing.
Yeah, I think we should be good.
Okay. Okay, we're getting a thumbs up.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so we're good.
Awesome. All right, and we have, just the breakdown of what is offered in this brochure of what each level offers. And the floor plans, of course, really beautiful here. It tells you what the total living space is and the total deck space and everything. Just a really good, clear breakdown of everything, as well as the pricing options. And again, some renderings. Each home is going to have really cool options, whether it's going to be a classic mountain look or it's going to be more modern. So we have each of the homes come in 2 options, which is a really cool feature as well. And again, just some more renderings of the beautiful homes. And this is pretty much exactly what it's going to look like. This is these are gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous homes. And okay, like I said, I wanted to give you a quick run through of that. And again, reiterate that the Founder Series is only for the first 20 families. Now, the big overarching plan for this mountain view is 300 and 350 plus homes to be living there. Now, that's going to take maybe a few years, but right now we're working on the first phase, and the first phase is 20 homes. Second phase is going to be some more homes, but we have a lot of financial incentives for the first 20 homes, which are the Founder Series, and those are almost all sold out. So that's the point of this, is to be very inspirational and very informational, to make you guys understand of the limitations of the Founder Series and to introduce the next phase as we go through this. So I guess without further ado, we should go ahead and introduce our founder and CEO, Yuri, who has been with this project since the start, and he is super passionate about it, more than us, even if you can even imagine. And he's going to give us some words of inspiration and break down some of the questions. And we'll go through again we'll go through the Q&A with Yuri after he gives his opening remarks.
You good? All right. Well, thank you so much to so many people on a Thursday night for Shabbos for a fast. I see so many familiar names actually over the last couple of weeks. I know, a few of you. So tonight, really, what we're going to do is, as Covey outlined, go through a lot of the questions received in advance. But please, everyone should feel free to post questions in the chat. They go directly to our Zoom host, who will be able to share them with us. So you can ask anything you like, and it's anonymous. We look forward to answering as many questions as possible through tonight's presentation. And I think really one of the questions that people ask all the time, so we'll just sort of put it out there as our intro of why are we doing this? Myself and my partners, why did we start Chef Living? Why did we start looking at creating Mountain View? And what's really the dream and vision that's driving this entire process? And it really boils down to a story I want to share with everyone here that happened with me about a year ago, maybe a year and a half at this point. A year and a half ago, I volunteer. Now, for those of you who know me, those who don't, I'm sure you've Googled me. I run a financial advisory firm. We do wealth management in 19 states. So I'm constantly working with my clients on their finances and their wealth accumulation. But part of my part-time job, so to speak, is I volunteer with Masila, which is an incredible organization run out of Israel that helps Orthodox Jews understand the challenges of cash flow and budgeting and debt management. And I started volunteering for them and going through a lot of their clients, Masila, a lot of their budgets and their cash flow and their challenges and their debt. And every single person, whether they were making $250,000 a year or $30,000 a year, everyone had the same problem. We always talk about in the frum world, it's this I'm 45 shortly, but since I was in my 20s, everyone talks about we have a shit up crisis, we have a foot up crisis, we have a housing crisis, we have a tuition crisis. I mean, you name it, we love crises. Jews love to have a crisis. But really, what you start looking at is we have a cost of living crisis. It's inevitable, it's inescapable. No matter how much you tend to earn for the average Jew, we have tuition, we have camps, day camp, sleepaway camp, our kosher food costs so much, our shul costs so much. I was looking at Jews in Boca Raton where I live, and looking at their balance sheet and their debt and their cash flow. Someone making $250,000 a year, the math just didn't make sense. You're paying X amount for your rent and mortgage, X amount for tuition. How on earth are you able to scrape by without going into debt? And the answer is you cannot. And we live in this world where we feel pressured and we feel obligated, because that's where our society and culture tells us we have to do. We have to do it to be part of communities that this is what's expected. And the more you make, the more it's expected. And it became so clear to me that it's must come for us to try to offer Jews around the country and around the world, really. We've had interest from places in Israel and South Africa and Canada. How do we rethink and retool and then reimagine Jewish community without sacrificing any of our principles? How do we offer kosher food at cost? How do we offer after you go through the government benefits at cost? How do we offer houses that are beautiful and not builder grade? I mean, I lived in New York for a long time. I go to my wife's from Wesley Hills in Muncie. I go there all the time. I see what Jewish developers create. How do we create actually homes that are beautiful and well made? How do we use the ability to wake up in the morning and feel a sense of not off of where they're living and how they're experiencing their life and the lives they're providing for their children? How do we create an environment where we're able to reimagine what the day-to-day life looks like from Jews while cutting down the cost of living? And that was really the idea, that was the impetus, the catalyst for why we want to start Chef for Living. How do we rethink community? How do we reimagine community without veering away from the traditions and the Masorah and what we know we have to hold true as from Torah observant Jews? How do we do that? When it came up, about in January of last year, this opportunity, and we've been working for 12 months now on every aspect of community as much as house building, on how do we create an environment that is nurturing for growth-oriented people, that allows Jews to lean into a place that Jews have never been able to live before, a place like North Carolina, the Smoky Mountains. How are we able to create a place where Jews can feel proud of where they're raising their families and give their children a life that they want to hand off to them? This is one of the most important, in my mind, most important projects. We've talked to so many Rabbanim. We've talked to the Mukatzer Rav, the Bubover, talked to Rabbi Bender from Darchei Torah. We've talked to Rabbi Twersky from Milwaukee, Rabbi Twersky from Muncie. We talked to Rabbi Shmuel Brazil and Eretz. So we talked to so many Rabbanim about this idea, and everyone has the same consensus. Please make this work. This is what Klal needs now more than anything else. We need to start fresh. I don't remember a time when Jews started a new community that was not adjacent or a satellite of another Jewish community nearby. And probably pre-World War II be the first time I could think of. And we're really falling up on Jews to feel the same way, who feel the challenges, who feel the pressures, who feel the desire, if you even don't feel pressure, just feel the desire to want to live differently, to come to Chef for Living, come to Mountain View, where we're looking to go above and beyond to provide you those amenities and those opportunities to create a home for your family and give you a community to be a part of.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. Should we move on to some of the
questions? Let's see what people want to know about. Let's get to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I got a whole beautiful list of questions here, and let's jump right into it. Okay, so question number one for the evening, we have Yodi. Curious about the vision for the school and education and overall hashkafa of the community.
How much time do we have? That's a big question.
It's a good
And
question.
I
That's a good question too.
It's a great question. And everyone on the call should know that I and Toby and SD will make time to have these conversations one-on-one if there's more questions, because there's a lot to unpack in that question. Let's begin with, the basic idea that we want to build a community that's focused on celebrating and leaning into our Torah and our Rosh Hashem without sacrificing any of that, while also providing all the physical or all the gashmias things that we want, like the hiking trails and the parks and the rivers and the fly fishing and all those components. So let's break up two different stages of this. First talk about hashkafa. Hashkafa is really a big question. So I run a shul in Boca within a shul called Heifel Hasidim. I went to Shar Yashiv for actually 10 years post high school, where I was a Talmud of Shmuel Brazil. And I learned along the way a really important idea that so many times we are asked to box ourselves into what kind of person are you, right? You find that even more so when you enter the shidduch world, start dating. Are you Black Hat? Are you Yeshivish Modern? Are you YU? Are you YU Machmer? Are you, Modern Orthodox? You have all these boxes. And I went to a high school where it had, in Chicago, they had some boxes. I went to Shar Yashiv, and the first time I was in, those who know Shar Yashiv, the yeshiva founded by Feifeld, the first time the hashkafa was, if you want to grow, you belong. So if you were Sephardi, if you were Ashkenaz, if you were Yeshivish, if you're wearing jeans and a t-shirt and Birkenstocks or NATOs, you belonged in the yeshiva if you want to be better, if you want to do better, if you love what we do. And actually, some of the guys that were in the Aleph Bay's Balchuva year were as fashion as the guys who were in the Rosh Hashiva year. There was no more boxes. Everyone who wants to be the best version of themselves belongs. And I believe that we've worked on creating a Vada Rabbanim, a rabbinic council, that represents a very similar hashkafa, that we have the ability to build a kollel and a shul with the idea of an environment that's only accepting and open, but that is empowering. I think many of us, I can't speak for many of us, I'll say for myself, if you live in a community, it's very hard to feel empowered and inspired and encouraged. It's hard to find support when you struggle. We want to create a community that's built on the idea that we're here together. Everyone's accepted. Everyone's leaning into the idea of Oz Hashem, some more, some less. And we're really looking to strive to be the best versions of ourselves for who we want to be and who our spouses want us to be and who we need to be for our children and who we hope they will be. This is really, if you break down hashkafa, I know in America, we've created this whole, gamut of definitions. This really did not exist, pre-World War II. In America, as we've become more diversified, we went to more communities, there's been more divisions and more definitions. It's really created a blur and it's shifted the reality. We hope to go back to the one paradigm that everyone's a Jew. Everyone in deep down wants to be the best version of themselves. And we want to just give you the tools, whether it be the shul, the mikvah, the food, the yeshiva, the kollel, give you an environment that you can into any parts of that you want to, and you cannot participate in any parts you don't want to. There's not we look back at a lot of times these certain communities, some are judgmental, some are to this, some are to that. We are coming from this with a rabbinic board that's looking to expand how we define who we are. And this rabbinic board consists of people like Rabbi Torsky from Muncie, or Torsky from Milwaukee, Shmuel Brazil from Israel, Mordechai Groner from Far Rockaway, and many others, to put together a collaboration of looking to start fresh, meaning we're not in a place where if you open a community 15 minutes from Far Rockaway, inevitably the school has questions about the parents for admission, the community rabbanim have a VAD, they have influence on the schools and the shkafa. We're starting a place where we are able to define that. And we're leading to good people who have deep-rooted beliefs that the shkafa is in warmth and facilities and in the idea of creating community that's built on celebrating individuality, celebrating that everyone has a tafkid and a purpose in the world, everyone has struggles, everyone has the ability to grow. And yes, while we have that individuality, we're still community, we're still growing together. I don't want to get too rabbi on a call about real estate, but this week's Parsha Vayechi talks about Yaakov before he dies, gathering all of his children together. He gathers them together, then he gives each one a bracha. Why gather them all together to give each of them a bracha? It's not logistics. It is very much a deep lesson. We have to gather together as a community while never forgetting each of us have our own individual brachas, our own individuality that needs to be celebrated, that we all have our own blessings, our own successes, and our own struggles. And create community that believes in that is really the core of what we'd like to do. There'll be more about the rabbinic VOD, the VOD Rabbanim in coming weeks. You get to see bios, you get to, have shirim we'll have available online and messaging. But I really believe that this is the core belief of the community. Shefa living, the word Shefa means a flow. We want to give a flow of bracha for ruchnius, for gashmius, for spirituality, for a better way of life. It's all about enhancing the way we live on all levels that someone chooses lead into. Now, the school is the yeshiva, the chinuch program is a very interesting question. A lot of what we've been working on, and we've engaged with 4 consultants. Each one serves as a menahel. One woman runs a very large preschool in Florida. 2 different individual men run large yeshivas in out-of-town communities, as well as one very well-known authored mechanech in New York. And we're expanding the group. We just hired someone who's the director of NCSY to help with some of the programming. Everyone's coming at this with fresh eyes and saying, how do we think about curriculum? How do we think about the yeshiva experience in a way that can be different and unique without changing and out sacrificing the most important things about chinuch? What's the most important things about chinuch? We want to make sure that even if someone's in this homeschooling world or wants traditional education, that all of our rabbanim from the kollel are double timing as mechanchim, as rebbeim. I know from my own life, nothing is more important than a healthy experience with BAM and when you're at any age and feeling that warmth and feeling that acceptance and feeling that empowerment. What's the biggest challenge? We just spoke today with someone who's looking to buy a home in Sparta in our community. The biggest challenge of school is that they're overcrowded, overpriced, and our children are underserved. And that's not a knock. I know this is recorded and there's lots of, someone will be listening to this. It's not a negative statement. This is a reality. Any Rebbe or any teacher will tell you this is the problem everywhere. Overcrowding, understaffed, underpaid, and overly expensive. We're paying so much for tuition. So how do we now break that down? That's really the goal of all of these consultants. How do we get our tuition next to zero, as close as we can after government funding? How do we create an environment where BAM have 4, 5, 6 kids in a class? How do we create a secular curriculum that maximizes the time children are learning while still providing opportunities to have experience-focused learning, experiential learning, where they're focusing on things like nature and hiking and fishing and looking at pursuing things they're passionate about? And we've actually started talking with a well-known psychologist who has an entire curriculum that's now been adopted by 40 private schools in the country, some of the top private schools, on how to incorporate that curriculum for the secular studies into the yeshiva. Our goal and our plan is to provide a boys' school, a girls' school, a preschool, a yeshiva across the age groups. As our buyers are coming in, as Esty mentioned, we're close to selling out our first 20. We're getting a better idea of what the ages are, which will really determine what the needs are. We can't just come here and say, we'll have a high school, we'll have a middle school, and we don't know if we have 200 kids that are in kindergarten or if we have 50 kids in every grade K through 12. As we're learning, we're adapting. Our commitment and our goal is to provide for all the education needs in a traditional way with a regular curriculum. Some of the people that are looking at homes are currently living a homeschool life. I spoke to one today, but they do want to partake in the Limud Kodesh and the Jewish studies, which is absolutely an option. We will be crafting this, and we'll be announcing the chinuch the vibe of the mechanics that are advising and guiding us on the school. And it's already going to be something that will come and feel fresh yet familiar. I think that's going to be the takeaway most people have. It'll be fresh yet familiar. As far as logistically speaking, the shul, our first shul is already built. The stiebel's there. It can house 200 mispalim. There's space for the initial yeshiva. There's going to be, day one, our aspirations to have the playground ready and any additional education facilities that might be required. And those people who are familiar with startup communities, or even communities that are growing, here in Boca, one of our popular preschools added some grades, and they use trailers until they finish construction. We will be working to provide our families, our community, with the essentials that they need to mechanech their children and provide an authentic Torah education within our community. I hope that and again, I tend to ramble about this because I can talk for hours about it. So anyone who wants more concrete, more specifics, please ask a question or call me or Kovi Esty after the Zoom. We have any more questions? I'm sure we do.
Okay, sorry about that. If we could maybe just go through what a potential school day might look like, just on a more practical level, or is it too early?
Absolutely. I mean, it's not, it's not easily imaginative, meaning we're looking at having a school day where the kids dive in together in the shul or in the school, whether that be at 8 o'clock or 7:30 or 8:30, depending on the ages. They'll have the Limud Kodesh in the morning, a healthy break, and they'll have the Limud Chol in the afternoon. We're looking to structure, very intimate, smaller classes. I was lucky when I was younger. I went to a private school in Boca, a very well-known, very prestigious private school, and they had a mandate 12 kids per teacher. And it was an amazing learning experience. We were way above most other schools. At the time I went to yeshiva in 9th grade, I have not learned a new thing since I was in 7th grade. I mean, the Jewish system was light years behind. And I think we're looking at creating an environment where there's individualized attention to the students' needs. We're able to look and teach to the student. My master's is in education, looking to teach to the student, not teach, subject matter to 30 students. And the day will go through with a typical, as the kids get older, night seder, if they're in the high school ages, or even 6th or 7th grade. But there's a lot of parts of this where there's a lot of family learning, meaning looking at things like Avasabanam and learning programs and how we integrate the kollel at night with people who want to learn at night in the shul and programs for the children. There's so many ways when you're living in an intimate community to integrate aspects of chinuch with aspects of the community to actually make the children feel a part of the experience and not outsiders.
Really nice. Okay, next question. Are the subsidized benefits from the Shefa Foundation dependent on how many homes are sold, or will a shul, mikvah, school, kosher market, etc., still be subsidized regardless of whether 50 or 300 homes are sold?
Great question. So we are there's two different elements to that. So let's talk about the founder series before we talk about the amenities. So the founder series includes the benefits of a monthly stipend for the first 20 people of $2,000 a month. And we debated, this is very transparent. We debated whether we knock prices off houses, whether we offer, a cheaper mortgage. And we decided for some people, and for all people actually, that having a stipend and spend it the way you want is the right way to go. So our non-for-profit gives every one of the first 20 home buyers $2,000 a month as a stipend. They don't pay HOA dues for a year. The housing prices are preferred pricing. So the housing prices you see today will not most likely be here in a year or two, or even less, depending on how the demand in the market is. That being said, the other elements of the community, course structure is different than most. I would imagine this is structured different than any other community, especially a planned community. We are funding a foundation that will pay for the kollel, regardless how many houses get sold, build a mikvah, regardless of the house is sold, have the shul, regardless of the house is sold, and continue to support those entities in perpetuity. that is the goal of myself and my partners, is to be able to make sure that all the your entities are supported predominantly, if not solely, by our internal foundation. It doesn't mean if you're gonna leave, you want to give a donation to the shul, so you could do that. Our goal is to take the burden and the bias off of you and take that on ourselves so you can focus on the most important things, which is supporting you and your families.
Thing.
Beautiful.
Okay, moving on to the next question. Will there be paved roads and sidewalks? How safe will it be for my kids to run around all day without proper supervision? Is this community gated with security?
Amazing question. Yes, we have purchased a fully gated community. Um, as people are familiar with some of the more mountainous Jewish communities, like in Muncie, you know that most of the community roads are paved, but there's not a lot of sidewalks. We have actually engaged with leading landscape architects and master planners to help us map out not only the roads that already exist and they're paved, but and are being paved, and map out walking trails. So our community has, besides for the roads, we don't have sidewalks. We have walking trails that cut throughout the community. We made sure to create pathways from any segment of the 3 phases, the 350 homes, wherever you live, pathways that are well lit, that are nature feeling, that are pleasurable to walk on, that don't walk along the road, and that lead you to core amenities like the yeshiva, the community spaces for parks, the commercial space where the market is and the restaurants, the mikvah, etc. Most of these mountain communities don't have sidewalks for very simple reasons. There's they're just, the roads are not that wide on the mountain roads. So we're looking at creating the experience. If you walk to shul on Shabbos and you choose to walk on the trails, you feel like you're walking in the woods and it's beautiful and it's serene and it's enchanting. And you're feeling like you're living in North Carolina. Like that's the whole point, right? There's, those of us who've been there know that the Smoky Mountains, the Blue Ridge Mountains, these are some of the most beautiful places in America. I've been to Utah and I've been to the Canadian Rockies. I've been upstate New York. I've been to the Poconos. There's something absolutely magical about this location, and we want people to enjoy it. So we're actually spending the time and money with well-regarded professionals to make sure we've designed it in a way where you can experience it and walk it and feel it. Your children are absolutely safe to walk in the community without supervision. Your biggest, I would imagine, the biggest fear you should have is they bring home a bunny rabbit from the fields. But otherwise, it's relatively nothing to worry about. If you go to the property, there's tons of deer. I remember I was driving through it, 7-8 months ago, and went to a further remote location with the cars, and there were like 30 deer just hanging out, in the woods there. It was absolutely beautiful. It is safe. It is gated. Sparta itself is an amazing community. They have way less than 1%. I think the statistic is like 0.04 is the level of crime. So there's not a lot of crime in the community. We met with the sheriff and his folks. They're very welcoming. They're very interested in us being there. The town has been overwhelmingly supportive of us moving there. And I've been very careful to, like, when we first eased in, wearing baseball caps, then yarmulkes, and then show everyone where we are with the tzitzis and whatnot. And the community is so welcoming. Every store is welcoming. The county is welcoming. So there will be, and we are planning, and we are thinking through ways to utilize the county sheriff to provide additional security when we have a Jewish concert, when we have Yom Noraim, when we have different things in the community that might want some additional drive-throughs, as well as some additional, cops driving through once a night or so. But the actual community is really, it's so safe. My in-laws live in Wesley Hills, Muncie, and that's also safe. You have things around you that may make you lock the door at night. People in Sparta that I've gone to don't even lock their front doors. It is amazing. So I think people who come and visit or people decide to move there will find it not only is it safe, but it's a place where kids could explore. We have 3 or 4 running creeks on the property, brooks. We have mountains and space for them to walk around. There are hiking trails that we're developing. There's public parks that we're developing. Everyone can find a sense of security. When I grew up, our rule in our house was, if the lights go dark, go home. The nice thing about our community is the only lights are on the trails, so the kids know to come home when lights go on. They come home and they get to spend time with their families. But everyone should feel really good about the safety. Actually, someone who lived there told me that after October 7th, I remember there's only a few Jews actually live in the town currently, but after October 7th, there were countless Israeli flags on people's front yards and throughout the area. It's very evangelical. It's very pro-Israel, which gives all a lot of comfort. And I just went to anecdotally, I went to the coffee shop, which is amazing. The stores in Sparta, if you've seen some of the images that Tovia posted, are very much like small little town, quaint and nice, and from a Hallmark movie, but they also have a vibe of like up and coming and cool and hip. And there's some really interesting stores in town. The coffee shops are all awesome. So we're at one coffee shop, and the woman serving me, the girl, she's just 18, 19, tattoos and colored hair. And one of her tattoos was the name Tova. And I said to her, "That's such a cool tattoo. Is that your Hebrew name?" And she said, "No, it's my brother's name." I assume they misspelled it. The tattoo artist, probably Tuvia. But we started talking with her, and her mother owns the coffee shop with her mother's sister, her aunt. And there's, a family of two Jewish families of Jews who live there. It was such an amazing conversation about renting the place out for a coffee shop event. And they were so into it. As we walked out with my partners and our guests, someone else stopped us and said, "Wait a minute, is there kosher food in Sparta?" I'm like, "Not yet. We're working on it." That's amazing. I grew up in Brooklyn. I've been living here for 20 years. I can't wait to get a bagel and cream cheese. But this has been, an amazing experience. I think the town is not only welcoming to what we want to do and develop, but it's actually celebrating it.
Amazing. Okay, we're gonna switch gears a little bit. We have a question that came in. What a phenomenal concept, first of all, so thank you. We have 4 children, ages 3 through 10. Schooling is the biggest hurdle. And what is or will be the nusach of the shul?
Fantastic. So whoever asked the question about schooling, I love talking about it, offline. I think we've talked about it a lot tonight. It's great. Again, we're focusing on giving when you see our Vav Rabbanim that are focusing on chinuch, it's not only gonna be impressive, it's gonna be shocking that such big Rabbanim are focusing on a new innovative way to develop a yeshiva. Take a step back. Again, I've worked in I got my master's in education. I worked in non-for-profits, some fairly large ones. A lot of these yeshivas cost so much, because over the decades, we have clobbed on so much things, so much staff, and so much expenses, and so much curriculum, and so much extracurricular, and so much property and real estate that has become a beast that you can't unwind it. But we're starting from scratch, and you're now building blocks for a better future. We're actually able, and these Rabbanim are like philatheas, they feel like reinvigorated and by the idea of rethinking how to do this in a way where we can make it close to nothing if you get your government benefits, if you get the vouchers. And it's been inspiring. So I think that, the kind of question I love getting, I think that everyone who sees it, everyone who learns about it, who didn't move here, is going to be looking at it. Now, I'll give anecdotally, I spoke to a Rosh Manahel of a very large school in New York. They have 2,000 students. We walked through the plan for the schooling system, and he told me 2 things. This is amazing, but if it works, everyone's going to hate you. Like, what are you talking about? So you prove every yeshiva in America that you could do this differently and not be a financial burden to your families. And that's going to make everyone have to be forced to rethink things. And that's really, for me, that's a side passion. When people rethink and retool how we're educating our children. They are not only the future, that's such a cliche, but they're the most important aspects of who we are. And we have to think of how we're giving them the experience to be part of the community and part of their Rosh Hashem and part of the Torah life. We see so many kids that have just not that. I teach in the mornings at a yeshiva high school in Boca. That's for kids who didn't really fit in anywhere else. And we have 30 boys, 9th through 12th, and we have 4 rebbeim. We all volunteer our time. And it's absolutely amazing to see how kids have been transformed in this our 2nd year in 1 year by just giving them attention, giving them acceptance, giving them a way to understand their role in Torah, mitzvahs, and Rosh Hashem in a way that's not only understandable, but they're not being judged. And that has led to amazing results. And I really believe that that could be the core of what we're trying to build here in Sparta. I love the idea you called it phenomenal concept. Please call me. I'd love to talk to you more. The news of the show will be Nusach Sparta. It's a short, easy answer.
Perfect.
Amazing. Okay.
Well,
What?
oh, just to clarify, in case people don't know, not Sparti, Nusach Spart. So, most people who daven in the Hamish Shul growing up or are familiar with like the Kal Chassidims or like these other like rabbis like Tinsky and Lawrence or Moshe Weinberger in Woodmere or Ishmael in Israel. The Nusach Spart is sort of a hybrid. It's not as extreme. If you daven, I have a Nusach Spart minyan in Boca. I'm probably only 4 or 5 people davening just as far to the minyan. Everyone davens from an art scroll, davens just Ashkenaz. The differences aren't that great. Most people can feel comfortable davening in a Nusach Sfard minyan, whereas Nusach Sfardi is a little more dramatic of a shift. Just a point of clarification.
Amazing. Okay, what is the projected timeline for construction and for the completion of a shul? And also, what does the onboarding procedure look like for a new home buyer?
So I want to go, let's do the construction piece first. The shul for the first phase is there, it's standing. Again, the shul itself could hold probably easily 100 mispalim, men and women. The pizza's up. We're actually ordering sarim and shafas now. We have a Sefer Torah already. There's a second floor that we utilize for Kiddushin, and simchas. The main shul will probably be built within the first 18 months. That would be our hope. And the main shul, also interesting note, is we're looking to really design it as a very close yet modernized replica of the Baal Shem Tov shul in Mezbez. We believe that represents very much the type of community and type of aspirations we want to have. We're focusing on all aspects of Judaism, not just one aspect, and we're all encompassing. And we could talk more about that if anyone wants to give me a call. But that shul will be looking to be built over time. And the truth is, after we go through 350 homes with the potential of a few hundred extra in an additional phase, there will most likely be other shtiblach and shuls will open up along the way. We imagine our Kolel younger light, our Kolel guys will be the ones who will be moving on if it's appropriate to run some of those shuls. They'll be familiar with the community, familiar with the shkafa, familiar with the kids and the families. So that's the shul question. What was the other one? Sorry.
Just what it looks like to if you're
the buying process. Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry. Right. So this is an idea that we've been working on for over a year, and people have been hearing all about it, and it's been a dream for lots of us for a long time. So the process is simple. And the process is advantageous to those who come earliest. People who want to buy or are thinking about it could put down a $5,000 absolutely refundable reservation. They sign a reservation agreement. The money goes to our lawyer in Sparta. It's held in escrow. We can't access it. It's your money until you move on to the purchase stage. That guarantees you a spot if you get into the first 20 to be a pioneer. To be a founder, that founder series, and get all those benefits locked in. Once we go to the next stage in your process, you receive the product guide, you receive the blueprints, you receive the upgrade packages. Each home has upgrades, and you'll go through each of the 4 different houses. You'll go through the different elements of the home and go through the different upgrade packages. Our concierge team's happy to help with that. If you have questions about the build, our builders are happy to answer those questions, and you're able to then finalize your home price. Purchase a house A, you added upgrades A, B, and C. This is the final price. You now sign a final agreement. At that point, you put 10% down of your final price for the home, minus your $5,000 refundable deposit. So now you are confirmed. You pick your lot, you pick your house, you pick your upgrades, and we are building for you for that house. Our build time, will range depending on the house and the models, but that's the process. If someone misses the first 20, we recommend still putting your refundable deposit down because some people might not get to the final stage of purchase in which case you might want those benefits of that monthly stipend of 2,000, HOA fees waived, and for pricing on the homes. Was that it? Was that the question? Yes.
I think so,
Sorry.
yeah. Okay, I think we have time for probably one more big question. So this one is, please talk about the builder. Cash or mortgage, there is still a lot of money involved. The act of construction in rural areas is quite different from building in the city. And what about jobs? What jobs are available?
That's a great question. So let's first talk about the job piece. So we're building commercial property on the property as one of the amenities, in which will house the kosher grocery store. We've engaged with someone who has been in the industry for a long time. They have a very well-known grocery store in the 5 towns in New York to help us formulate and figure this piece out in a way that achieves our goals of low cost. As the other element of that commercial space is spot for a restaurant, pizza, bagel, etc. Vendors are coming on board. We've been vetting different proposals for different restaurants in New York and elsewhere. Our goal is to provide our community with food in various ways, restaurant, grocery, etc. I'd love to be an ice cream store there because I'm an ice cream guy. Our commercial property has a huge lake in front of it that has lots of benches for families to sit and enjoy, their dinner if they want. So when it comes to jobs, we love hearing about people who want to bring business. Someone from Lakewood runs a large business there that does medical billing. They've asked us about moving it to Sparta and providing jobs for everyone who wants to work in that industry, on the phones, on the computers, work remotely. So we're working on trying to figure out different ways of providing jobs. For the most part, the job opportunities, and we're here to help you look and point in the right direction, but we're not providing, for the most part, jobs that are outside the needs of the food, etc. that we're marking out. The builder, now we've gone through a long process. It's been a year. We've interviewed multiple builders. Whoever asked the questions, right? Building in the mountains is different than building in the city. So we have been working on hiring designers. So the homes that have been designed by an award-winning designer, they were featured on Oprah. They're fantastic. The material selection was done by our home designers, and the builders have over 10 years of experience focusing on stick build, for those who know what that means, focusing on doing traditional building with products made here in the US. The builder in GC have a long track record. Our GC North Carolina has been in the industry for a long time. Our project manager, his bio will be on the website shortly, has been doing construction for over 10 years in very high net worth neighborhoods. The challenges of working in the mountains, to answer that question, is realistic and real. And we have worked hard to ensure that A, we're bringing a crew, B, we understand the topography, and we've worked with local surveyors, local land architects, local construction crews to understand how the houses should be placed and help our team figure out the best ways to not only construct the homes, not only position the homes, but also lay out the entire community. So we've actually reached out to award-winning architectural firms that do the community mapping and do the strategic planning for all elements of the community, including now every house will sit on their acre of land. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah. Do we have, maybe we'll do one last question from our list. So the homes of the Founder Series are each on an acre lot. Is it possible to purchase more than 1 acre?
That's a great question. And the answer is at the moment, no. I hate the word no. I always love, my partner Marvin knows I always say yes and because no is definitive. Right now, the core value is to build community, not homes, which means we have to get as many from Jews living on the land as we can to build up the community that can serve the infrastructure, or that the infrastructure can serve. So our goal is to really be able to maximize space. That being said, a lot of people ask about farming and homesteading and other issues. So that's all be contemplated. It's all within the HOA, which eventually the homeowners will manage, not us. So you make, changes, and as a community, make your own choices. Some things are more acceptable than others. But we've actually been exploring in the last week. We've actually talked to some folks about the actual amount of acres you need to set aside. But one of the more popular ways of accommodating homesteading in a developed or a planned community is to have a communal gardening and farmhouse center. And a year ago, if you look back at our old site map, it's actually on there. It's called the barn. So talk amenities for a second. Besides the Jewish amenities, we're providing a hospitality piece. The lodge is already built, which should be the main space for coffee if you live in the community, or if you're staying there. There'll be some wine bar events, etc., on the balconies and the porches, some reading rooms. It's a beautiful 4,000 square foot space that overlooks all of the mountain views of the entire community. It's high up on the mountain, as well as a first floor that will accommodate an arcade and game room for the children. And as we slope down the outdoors, it's on 5 acres. We're building an outdoor amphitheater for outdoor reading, to take in the views, to play with your kids. There'll be a playground where the land levels off, as well as a great space for us to have summer concerts. And we've already been talking to some of our more well-known singers in the Jewish world about a concert series in the summers. The hospitality piece will include, quite a few private high-end cabins that we want people to utilize for simchas, for guests who want to come for Shabbos, and be at use for members in our community, as well as maybe service programming, etc. There will be, is planned to be pickleball, basketball, a barn with indoor space for indoor activities, a splash pool. These are all things that have been contemplated and placed into the site map as of now. So with that in mind, when you think about, all the different elements we want to provide, looking at now providing, a community farm where you have your own garden space, you have your own place for chickens if you want, your own place to do whatever you'd like within the community barn and agricultural center. I'd love for that to be, this is my own dream. Again, it's an aspiration. We have our own petting zoo for the kids, a place for kids to work and experience animals firsthand. It's a beautiful thing to do. And we have the space for it, and we've been working with our designers on the best spot to fit it, best place to put it, gives it easy access. Also considering all the potential pros and cons of how that would work. Obviously, that space would be limited. There's only so much acreage within the community farm. So most likely the first home buyers have rights to the first plots, so to speak, within that. And if someone backs out, if someone doesn't want it anymore, it will go to the next person. But obviously will be of limited space. We're talking about 350 homes. We'll have a limited farming space. I hope that makes some sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was just leading into the chicken question. That seems to be a hot topic, but you
I got news for you. If we build this and I don't allow hens, my wife is gonna lose her mind. She wants blue eggs in the morning.
totally, you gotta.
Amazing.
Okay, I think that is all of our time tonight. We had some great questions.
So I just want to finish off with one thing. We're trying our best to answer a lot of these questions. I think my main hope and my aspiration for this call is that everyone feels comfortable now reaching out to us to ask us more questions. That we're here to not just build homes, build community. We're focused on the needs of the people who want to live there, are choosing to live there, and we're focused on providing above and beyond what most developers would do. We're looking at providing all the infrastructure that you need to feel like you can not just live in Sparta, but thrive there as a family at any stage of life. Think about retirement, you're raising young children, you're somewhere in the middle. We're doing this so we can build a real, healthy, growth-oriented community that loves nature, that shares our values, that wants to really be something different and somewhere else. And if you have questions, I'm available anytime. Reach out to Covey or FC. They'll get us on the phone. Happy to do more one-on-one Zooms if you have more specific questions. This is about giving you the information you need to make you feel confident and clear about the choice of leaving where you are if you feel those pains and moving to a place like North Carolina, and more particularly a place like Mountain View and Sparta.
Okay.
Amazing. Perfect. Yeah.
Okay, thank you everyone for coming, and we're happy to stay on and, follow up with you after this call. If anyone has any other questions, very happy to be in touch. Thank you, Yuri, and have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you, everybody.